All right, so past eating correctly, we have to preserve, cherish, and there is no compromise for sleep quality. And the way sleep works is you want to determine the variables that affect you, and those variables will change as you age. So there's two very, very common ones, caffeine and alcohol. Okay? So the half-life for caffeine is 6 hours. And most people that drink coffee have at least 2 cups, and some of their cups are already 2 cups, which is 4. I'm not saying caffeine's good or bad. You can actually take caffeine or drink coffee as a pre-workout. It's very common, and it's a great thing to do. But you have to determine, what does caffeine do to your sleep quality? So you want to monitor. Well, you say, well, I drank coffee at 6 o'clock, and boy, I've been very restless. It's hard for me to fall asleep. Or, no problem, you fall asleep, but you're getting up in the middle of the night. So you have to track yourself with respect to caffeine intake. At what time can you take in caffeine where it does not affect your sleep? The other one is alcohol. So if you drink at night, you may notice you fell asleep easily, but you got up and you had a restless night. Or you had trouble falling asleep. So you want to see what works for you. And there's lots of little bands and rings that will track this for you. In fact, there's a free sleep tracker you can get on your cell phone. It's just to see where you are. And there's other variables. If you ate late at night, right? If you're not doing the intermittent fasting and you ate late, what did that do to your sleep? Was it better? Now, if you have trouble falling asleep, I have a tip for you. This is not on the internet. This is something I developed. And what you do is you procrastinate all those thoughts that go into your head at night, because it's the best time to think of them. There's no interruptions, there's no phone ringing, there's nobody talking to you. So you think, this is the time for me to think about what happened during the day, what I'm going to do tomorrow, who I'm happy with, who I'm not happy with. And all of those are valid thoughts, but you need to pretend you're a student studying for an exam. When do students study for the exam? The last minute. They procrastinate all the way down. So that's what you should do with your thoughts. Now, 2 things happen. As soon as you procrastinate your thoughts, so you're just thinking in your head, I'll think of that tomorrow morning, think of that tomorrow morning, you will fall right to sleep. In fact, it's scary how well it works. I mean, you'll notice it in like 15, 30 seconds, and it'll startle you that you're falling asleep and you don't want to because you want to think of things. But if you keep training yourself that you're not going to think of these things, but you have to procrastinate them. If you say, I don't want to think about these things, or I'm not going to think about these things, you take away their importance. These are important thoughts. You are just procrastinating. Just like an exam, the material is important, you're going to procrastinate studying. So you're going to procrastinate thinking about these things. You'll fall right to sleep. Okay, next, when you wake up in the morning, these thoughts will come back into your head. What do you think happens then? It's much easier to get out of bed. So you get a double benefit. If you are waking up in the middle of the night, for men, usually it's a prostate issue. The best solution for that is to start juicing celery every day. Fresh celery juice every day. You'll need to buy a juicer, and a blender will not work. Blenders are great. They're really the best way to consume a meal. But in this case, the juicer works and is far more important. I don't juice anything else but celery because it's usually a mistake to juice because of the high fructose or sugar content without fiber. But in this case with celery, that's what you want. And I have a video on that on my YouTube channel. So this is for the guys, of course everyone. The celery will pull out toxins, parasites, old viruses, including Epstein-Barr, which probably 75 to 80% of you have
Lyme?
in you. It'll pull out Lyme. It'll help with dementia, help with heart, it'll help with cancer. It is one-stop shopping to heal yourself. It's a pain in the butt because you're always juicing this celery, but it sure beats spending time in a hospital room. Okay, so very important, celery juice. Now, if it isn't a prostate issue, it's hormonal imbalance. That's why people will tend to wake up. The estrogen progesterone ratio is off, or the testosterone estrogen ratio is off, but it'll be the primary hormones are not in balance. So fix that, usually with bioidentical hormones. Sometimes just eating correctly and digesting what you eat, which is what I said for the first part, that allows you to balance your endocrine system so you can balance your hormones. Okay, so that's the second one, sleep.